Welcome back for more Earth Science. This is Mr. Norris for Norris Teaches Science in another edition of Earth Science video. This one is expanding a little bit more on meteorology, so if you haven't checked out those videos, please go check out the other ones before this. Also go check out all the other videos if you really want to know a little bit more about Earth Science. Today we're going to talk about air masses. And so your video goal for today is I can explain the formation, motion, and effect of air masses. All right, so what is an air mass? It's a large body of air that is characterized by similar temperature and similar amount of moisture. All right. Now, when air masses do affect the weather, and so the weather inside of an air mass is fairly consistent. But as an air mass moves, it carries the moisture and temperature with it. The thing is, as an air mass moves south, it's going to warm but bring its cooler temperatures. Now, classifying air masses, we classify them based off temperature and over the area of which they form. So, classification of air masses. All right, I have my mouse over here. By temperature, it's either a polar or a tropical. We abbreviate polar with a capital P. We abbreviate tropical with a capital T. Polar ones will form at high latitudes towards the poles, and they usually have cold temperatures. Tropical air masses will form at lower latitudes, like near the equator, and they're going to have warm temperatures. That's how we classify it with temperature, and we also classify it with the surface area or the area it forms over. So if it can be continental, which we abbreviate a little c, and maritime, which we abbreviate a little m. Continental, think about it, continent is going to form over land. Now it can be cold or warm depending on the latitude. Maritime is going to form over water because maritime is like saying water, sea, being on a boat, something like that. And it can be cold or it can be warm depending on latitude as well. So we take that, we have our four basic type of air masses. These are the four basics. There are more different air masses out there, but these are the four that we're going to talk about. So we take those letters, C, P, that means continental polar. Polar means it's going to be cool or cold, and continental means it's going to be over land, so it's going to be dry. So it has cold and dry in winter and summer when this type of air mass comes through. A continental tropical, a CT, will be dry because it's continental over land and warm because it's tropical. It has extreme hot, drought-like conditions when it comes over an area. Then you have maritime polar, MP. Polar means it's cold. Maritime means it's going to be wet. So you're going to have mild, humid, unstable, cold air. And I'm in the North America, so it's going to come from Canada. And MT is maritime tropical. It's wet because of maritime. It's warm because of tropical. And this is one of the major sources of precipitation in the United States, where I'm from. So I'm actually live in North Carolina, so we have to look at the weather patterns there. And so the weather patterns in North Carolina is influenced by the continental polar CPs, the dry, cold air masses, and the maritime tropical MT, the wet, warm air masses. Those what drives our weather here in North Carolina. I don't go check out, if you're not from North Carolina, the other air masses and see which air masses influence where you live. But I really hope you learned something today, a little bit about air masses. I'm Mr. Norris, like always, and I'll see you in the next video.